Vice President J.D. Vance turning the tables against the Democrats who are attacking the administration over the affordability crisis by reminding them who got us in this mess in the first place. Watch.
We inherited the highest peacetime debt and deficits in the history of the United States of America. We inherited the worst inflation crisis in at least the last 40 years, and I think probably longer. So a lot of Americans, when we took over, they were struggling. We flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who were taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. And at the same time, we weren't building enough new houses to begin with, even for the population that we had.
Now contrast that with the Democrats acting like the answer to the affordability crisis is to go full-on communist. Seattle's new socialist mayor-elect is literally talking about not letting private grocery stores close.
Together we can build a Seattle where fresh food is for everyone, not just for those who can afford it. Food deserts are not natural. Corporations create them when they abandon our communities. As mayor, I'm excited to step up and with UFCW explore public option grocery stores to fill those gaps.
Harold, what is she talking about? And how did that win?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I'm about tired of any party. When you win the presidency, we're 10 or 11 months in. People elected President Trump and Vice President Vance to address the affordability issue and prices. They were put over the finish line because more groups of people who normally vote Democrat, people who were pro-union, people whom were African-American, people who were women, young voters, pockets of voters, Democrats won overwhelmingly. President Trump made great gains in the 2024 election. Why? If you listen to those people, you listen to the exit polling, many believe that President Trump was going to make their lives better. He was going to make things more affordable. He was going to get us a deal in parts all across the world, in Ukraine, on TikTok, and all these things. Now, he has shut the border down. I give him the greatest credit for that. He is sending the Guard in to help reduce crime. I wish they would do more in communities where you have too many incidences of violent crime, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Where he's not winning on his prices, the reason that woman won out there is because I don't necessarily support her ideas, but people are mad about prices being as high as they are. The reason Democrats had such a great night a week and a half ago, and contrast it with a year ago from today, where President Trump cleaned the clocks of Democrats, winning all the battleground states, winning the electoral and popular vote. A Republican hadn't done that in a long, long time. I just think, as I've tried to say on this show many times over the last few days, nothing is inevitable in politics. It's all fluid. If you deliver for voters, I don't care which party you're in, you're going to be rewarded. Democrats were rewarded a week and a half ago, and the question is, can they address these issues better than what the American people believe that the incumbents are not? If they don't, Emily, next year Republicans will win in the midterms. The question is, between now and then, do we respond to voters? I am not convinced that mayor there has the right ideas, but I am convinced that the mayor of San Francisco, the mayor of Philadelphia, I love the direction they're taking their cities, and we'll see what happens in Georgia and Pennsylvania with these new Democrats they elected there.
Yeah. What's that vampire movie where the opening credits is like the blood coagulating?
Love Actually.
So I feel like that's what we're actually seeing, Greg, is that the people who are sick of the rampant crime and the socialist policies that have been trickling through by eroding police departments and the like have fled to neighboring counties. So that's why Seattle is now full-blown commie, but Bellevue is full-blown Republican. Everyone with common sense that had the means to move fled. So are we seeing now essentially the makings of, what was that Stephen King book?
Love Actually?
The Stand.
The Stand. Would you call it a public option supermarket? Is that what you called it? Yeah. Imagine the vending machine at the DMV. That's your public option supermarket. You're in line at the DMV. That's it. You got those weird bags of chips that have like things that are from different bags of chips. Yes. Like you get a cheese doodle and a tortilla chip.
I like that. That's a great bag. What was that bag called?
That's what you get.
Chex Mix.
I'm probably going to get
Utz. I love Utz.
I love Utz.
Yeah, Utz. Yeah. It's so easy to have goals it's harder to come up with a system to reach them. This is why when socialism starts with a goal, it ends in a disaster. Affordable health care is way costlier than the alternative. The Inflation Reduction Act created more inflation. Rent control makes decent housing scarce. So whenever you confront a lefty about their goals, they'll have these goals. Then you ask them about how to get there. What do they say? This is when we should have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. That is their way of saying they don't have any way to get there, but they will have the conversation about getting there, and they never do. So that's why you have to confront them. And you have to confront them, especially on this new affordability thing, because I do think it's working, because it's a great word. It's good persuasion. But you have to step back. They morphed equality into equity. They morphed equity into affordability. When somebody mentions affordability, simply ask, for whom? From whom?
Yes.
And then you'll end up with the classic redistribution scam, which robs you of wealth and private property and freedom. And then you find yourself leaving for other areas if you can leave.
Mm-hmm. Jesse, what do you make of the fact that both of these, Mamdani and that girl in Seattle, they're half our age? Sorry, that was rude. They're half my age. Like, my point is that they're sort of coming of age in a petri dish of echo chamber where they don't know the real world. They don't know how real economics works, and so they certainly don't know how communism works.
Well, for the record, Emily, they're not half my age. They're how old do you think I am?
We're the same age.
27.
Awesome.
All right. And second of
How
all,
old is your hair?
Second of all, I had this friend, skinny, in high school, could dislocate his shoulder and reach up around into the vending machine and steal chips.
That's awesome.
We called him Slim Jim. Baby boomers will eventually pass away, and when they do, they'll all do it at the same time, and then millions and millions of homes will become available like that. We also need to get rates down. And you do that because AI and the labor market's softening, and you have all these illegals that are going to get deported, so you drop rates and you can get people to buy. You also have a lot of rich liberals that live in these rich coastal cities that prevent property development because it keeps their properties higher priced. So once you start cutting that red tape, you can build more housing, and then people can get in. The places with the highest rent, Boston, New York City, and San Francisco. It's because it's all these young kids that just graduate from college. They want to go to the city and find love and find a great job, and they can't because the migrants have the homes and the boomers are sitting on them, and they won't let anybody build. That's the problem.
Jillian.
Well, why doesn't the administration make that the messaging then? Because what we're getting is it's all Biden's fault. And to some degree, you can blame your predecessor, but we're coming up on a year. How long is that going to have currency for? You got to own it at a certain point. And if that's what the underlying problem is, people should start saying that. So far, we have the vice president, as you mentioned, Emily, is blaming the crisis, the housing affordability crisis, on illegal immigrants. You have the president saying essentially today in his Truth Social post that affordability is a scam. It doesn't even exist. It's a buzzword. It's actually people's lived experience.
Well,
And
they're also
President
looking
Biden
at
ran into
Instagram
big
every
trouble.
day, and everybody's a billionaire.
Okay, but
so
listen,
they
Everybody
also
is
need to
not
be
a billionaire.
I remember
realistic.
sitting in this chair.
Well, they
having
look
this
like it when I go on
conversation
Instagram.
with you at this table when the Biden campaign was telling people that things were a lot better than they thought they were. They were telling people that not to believe their wallets.
What are the
not to
staples?
believe
Look
what
at this:
they were
gas,
thinking. And I
eggs,
just don't think that's good messaging.
butter,
I don't think
housing,
it works then, it's not
electricity.
gonna
Oh,
work
definitely
now.
housing and electricity.
Healthcare.
Thank you, liberals.
Thank you for letting
I'm talking
me
about
finish.
food.
Look at the
Talking about food.
beef,
Don't look at me that
beef,
way.
Milk,
coffee,
milk, eggs,
beef,
bread.
coffee. But listen, this is
chicken.
amazing. Mr. Bessent, who I like, said that we're going to, and the president said, we're going to get prices lower. You're not going to get prices lower? We're going to lower the tariffs. It's an admission that tariffs were a price increase. If I were president of the United States and I had to party, my party took control in the House and the Senate,
Harold,
I
just on
wouldn't be
coffee.
complaining.
Just on coffee, because we don't
I
make
wouldn't be
coffee in America. That's all.
I wouldn't be
should.
complaining if I had the House, the Senate, and I was the president about how the guy before me, a year before me, hadn't done his job. Do your job.
Because Obama never mentioned Bush.
He was wrong, too. Do your job.
All do it. You do your job.
Yeah, but
Do
that
your
doesn't
job,
mean
guys.
it works.
Solution.
Solve.
The fastest is up next. Stay with us.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.